My name is Brendan Pfister. My voice isn't great today, but I've been told that I need to record my voice at some point since people like it. That's what I've been told my entire life ever since I hit puberty. So today we're reading the Poetic Edda, Stories of the Norse Gods and Heroes, translated and edited with introduction by Jackson Crawford. One I've read a few times, never out loud. We're starting with the Voluspa. Stanza 1. Heed my words, all classes of men, you greater and lesser children of Heimdall. You summoned me, Odin, to tell what I recall of the oldest deeds of gods and men. I remember the giants born so long ago, in those ancient days they raised me. I remember 9 worlds, 9 giantesses, and the seed from which Yggdrasil sprang. It was at the very beginning. It was Ymir's time. There was no sand, no sea, no cooling waves, no earth, no sky, no grass, just Ginnungagap. Stanza 4. But Odin and his brothers created the earth. It was they who made Midgard. The sun shone from the south upon the stones of their hall, and the land turned green with their growing plant life. Let's see how that turned out. Stanza 5. The sun, companion of the moon, shone from the south, as the heavenly horses pulled it east to west. The sun did not yet know where it rested at evening, the stars did not yet know their places in the sky. The moon did not yet know what kind of power it had. Stanza 6. Then all the gods went to their thrones, those holy, holy gods, and came to a decision. They named the night and the hours, the morning, the midday, the afternoon, and evening, so they could tell the time. Stanza 7. The gods had their meeting at Ithaval, where they built temples and high shrines. They made workshops, they made treasures, and they made tongs and other tools. They played in the grass, they were cheerful, they had no lack of gold, till 3 giantesses came, fiendish giantesses from Jotunheim. End of stanza 8. Stanza 9. Then all the gods went to their thrones, those holy, holy gods, and came to a decision. They would make the lord of the dwarves out of Ymir's blood and his rotting limbs. Then they made Motsignir. He was the lord of all the dwarves, and next they made Durin. They made many man-like creatures, dwarves of the earth, and Durin named them. Ni and Nithi, Northri and Suthri, Ostri and Vestri, Althiof, Devalin, Bivor, Bavor, Bambur, Nori, An and Anar, I, Mjothvinir. Stanza 12. Veg and Gandalf, Vindolf Thrain, Threk and Thorin, Thror, Vit and Lit, Nar and Yerath, Regin and Rathsith, and now I've named the dwarves correctly. Definitely not, but excuse my horrible pronunciation. I've never actually read those out loud, so forgive me for that. Stanza 13. Fili, Kili, Fundin Nali, Heptivili, Hanar, Zvir, Frar, Hornbori, Freg and Loni, Arvang, Yari, Oakenshield. Stanza 14. Now the names of Devalin's family, the dwarves descended from Lofar, as men tell, the ones who left their stone halls for a home on Yoruval. Stanza 15. These were Dropnir and Dolg Thrasir, Har, Hogspori, Hilevang, Gloi, Skurfir, Virfir, Skafith, I. Stanza 16. Alf and Yngve, Oakenshield, Vjalhar and Frosty, Fith and Ginar. The names of these dwarves, the descendants of Lofar, will be famous as long as the world exists. Stanza 17. 3 gods, powerful and passionate, left Asgard for Midgard. They found Ask and Embla, weak, fateless in that land. Stanza 18. They had no breath, no soul, no hair, no voice. They looked inhuman. Odin gave them breath, Honir gave them souls, Loth gave them hair and human faces. Stanza 19. I know an ash tree named Yggdrasil, a high tree speckled with white clay. Dewdrops fall from it upon the valleys. It stands forever green above earth's well. Stanza 20. 3 wise women live there, by that well under the tree. Earth is named one, another is Verthandi, the third is named Skuld. They carve men's fates, they determine destiny's laws, they choose the lifespan of every human child, and how each life will end. Stanza 21. I remember the first murder ever in the world, when Gulvang was pierced by spears and burned in Odin's hall. They burnt her 3 times, she was reborn 3 times, often killed, not a few times. Still she would live again. Stanza 22. They named her Haith. When she came into their homes, a sorceress who foresaw good things. She knew magic, she knew witchcraft, she practiced witchcraft. She was the pride of an evil family. Stanza 23. Then all the gods went to their thrones, those holy, holy gods, came to a decision about whether they should endure Gulvang's depredations, or whether they should seek revenge. 24. Odin let a spear fly and shot it into the fray. That was the first war ever in the world. The outer wall of Asgard was broken. The Vanir knew war magic. They trampled the valleys. 25. Then all the gods went to their thrones, those holy, holy gods, and came to a decision. All the air would be poisoned with their deceit, or Odin's wife would have to be married to a giant. Thor alone was in the mood to fight. He does not take it lightly when he hears of such things. Broken promises, broken oaths and vows, such false speech as even the gods had uttered. Stanza 26 end. Now on to stanza 27. I know where Heimdall hid his ear, under the heaven-bright holy branches of Yggdrasil. I see a river that feeds the muddy waterfall where Odin's eye hides. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? 28. I sat alone when the Ancient One came to me, Odin of the Aesir, and he looked into my eye. What do you seek from me, Odin? Why do you seek me, Odin? Odin, I know where you hid your eye, in the shining waters of the well of Mimir. But Mimir can drink every morning from those waters where your own eye drowns. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? 29. Odin opened my eyes to rings and necklaces. In exchange, he got wisdom and prophecy. I saw more and more looking out over the worlds. 30. I saw Valkyries come from far away, ready to ride to the homes of the gods. Skuld held a shield, and Skogul another. Gun, Hild, Gundel, and Geirskogul. Now the Valkyries are counted, ready to ride to the earth. The Valkyries. 31. I saw Balder, the bloodied victim, Odin's son, resigned to his fate. There stood the mistletoe, growing slender and fair, high above the plain. 32. That tree, which seemed harmless, caused a terrible sorrow when Hoth took a shot. Balder's brother was born soon thereafter. He was Odin's son. He took vengeance while still just 1 night old. He had never washed his hands nor combed his hair when he put Balder's killer on the funeral pyre. Frigg wept in Fensalir for the woe of Valhalla. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? Stanza 33 end. 34. I saw a prisoner lying in a certain wood, the liar himself, none other than Loki. There sits Sigyn, his wife. Although she finds no glee in her husband, have you learned enough yet, All-Father? 35. A river falls from the east, full of daggers and swords, through valleys of poison. It is named Slith. 36. There stands north of the dark valleys a golden hall of the kin of Sindri, and another stands at Aukelnir, the beer hall of a giant named Remir. 37. I saw a hall that stood far from the sun on the beaches of corpses. The doors face north. Drops of poison fall through the roof. Its walls are encircled by serpents. 38. I saw oathbreakers wading in those thick streams, and murderers, and those who seduce others' lovers. There Nithhog sucks the corpses of the fallen, snaps them in his jaws. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? 39. In the east sat an aged giantess in ironwood, and there she raised Fenrir's brood. Among them is a certain one who bites the moon in a troll's shape. 40. Dead men are filled with life. The home of the gods turns red with gore. The sun shines black through the summers. The weather is never cheerful. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? 41. A giant, a herder by trade, sits there on a burial mound, striking a harp. He is the cheerful Egthir. A bright red rooster named Fjalar sings near him in Birdwood. 42. Near the Aesir sings the rooster named Golden Comb. He wakens the men who fight for Odin, lord of battle. But again sings below the earth a soot-red rooster in the halls of hell. 43. Fenrir howls terribly before the doors to hell. The wolf will break its bonds and run. I know much wisdom. I see deep in the future, all the way to Ragnarok, a dark day for the gods. 44. Brothers will fight one another and kill one another. Cousins will break peace with one another. The world will be a hard place to live in. It will be an age of adultery, an age of the axe, an age of the sword, an age of storms, an age of wolves. Shields will be cloven. Before the world sinks in the sea, there will be no man left who is true to another. 45. The giants are at play, and the god's fate is kindled at the blast of Gjallarhorn. Heimdall blows that horn hard, holds it high aloft. Odin speaks with Mimir's head. 46. The old tree sighs when the giant shakes it. Yggdrasil still stands, but it trembles. 47. Fenrir howls terribly before the doors to hell. The wolf will break its bonds and run. I know much wisdom. I see deep in the future, all the way to Ragnarok. Dark day for the gods. 48. Hrim advances from the east with a shield before him, and the Midgard serpent is in a monstrous rage. The serpent beats the waves, and the eagle screams eagerly, splitting corpses with its pale beak. Naglfar, the giant's ship, is released. 40. 49, excuse me. 49. That ship sails from the east, bearing giants over the sea. Let me repeat that. 49. That ship sails from the east, bearing giants over the sea, and Loki is its captain. The giants are coming together with Fenrir, and Loki too is with them on that voyage. 50. What news from the gods? What news from the elves? All Jotunheim is roaring. The Aesir are in council, and the dwarves, creatures of the mountains, tremble by their doors of stone. Have you learned enough yet, All-Father? 51. Surt comes from the south with a bright light in his hand. Yes, the sun shines upon the sword in his grasp. The mountains collapse, the trolls fall. Men will walk the roads to hell, and the skies divide above. 52. Then comes the second sorrow, Frigg, when Odin goes to fight the wolf and Frey goes to fight the giant Surt. Then Odin, Frigg's husband, will fall to Fenrir. 53. Then comes the great son of Odin, Fithar, to fight to avenge his father on the wolf. He shoves his hand into the mouth of Fenrir all the way to the heart, and thus is Odin avenged. 54. Then Thor comes, Earth's son, Odin's son, to fight the Midgard serpent. The protector of Midgard will kill that serpent in his rage, but all humankind will die out of the world when Thor falls, after only 9 steps struck down by the venom of the honorless serpent. 55. The sun turns black, the earth sinks into the sea, the bright stars fall out of the sky. Flames scorch, the leaves of Yggdrasil, a great bonfire, reaches to the highest clouds. 56. 56. Fenrir howls. Let me repeat that. 56. Fenrir howls terribly before the doors to hell. The wolf will break its bonds and run. I know much wisdom. I see deep in the future, all the way to Ragnarok, a dark day for the gods. 57. I see the earth rise a second time from out of the sea, green once more. Waterfalls flow and eagles fly overhead, hunting for fish among the mountain peaks. 58. The Aesir meet on Ithaval and regard the bones of the Midgard serpent, and there they recall the great events of Ragnarok and Odin's old wisdom. 59. There they will find once more the wonderful golden game pieces in the grass which they had once played with in their earliest days. 60. Fields will bear harvest without labor. All sickness will disappear. Balder will come back. Hoth and Balder will live in Odin's hall as well as other gods. Have you learned enough yet, Allfather? 61. Then Honir will speak forth his prophecies. The two sons of Odin, the two brothers, will inhabit the heavens. Have you learned enough yet, Allfather? 62. I see a hall standing there, more beautiful than sunlight. I repeat that. 62. I see a hall standing there, more beautiful than sunlight, thatched with gold, at Gimle, where bold men will dwell and enjoy cheer throughout their lives. 63. And then the dark dragon will come flying down from the dark mountains, that glistening serpent. Nithhogg will bear corpses in his wings as he flies over that valley. Now, I must retire. End of the Voluspa. I'm not sure if I'm going to post this. It's filled with a lot of errors. This is my first time actually ever recording anything. If I do post this, I'm just looking for feedback, and I would appreciate any that anyone has to offer. Thanks. I'll probably see you next time with something a little more well done once I learn how to use Audacity a little bit better.